Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. We are broadcasting live from Commons. We have a small studio audience, and I have some guests with me today, Eric and Mike. Why don't we begin with a moment of silence and an opening prayer, and then we'll go into some of the questions that we've received and other conversations. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, and we thank you for those who are gathered here and who are watching live now. I pray that you'll bless our time as we exchange ideas and questions and comments together as we learn as Covenant Woods community. I just pray that you'll bless this time together in Jesus' name, amen. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just read some of the questions that came through, and then we'll take some questions or comments from the audience. Julie is here helping out. She's got the microphone. I'll just ask that when you do speak, tell us who you are, and then go ahead and state your question or comment. So the first question was, can you still order groceries from the market and have them delivered on Fridays? If so, where are the order forms? And the order forms, so the answer is yes, but the order forms are available in the lodge and manor front desk as well as the restaurants. So if you need a form, let us know. We'll get one to you. But that is still an active service that we provide. The second question relates to a topic that we talked about at Town Hall, which is about the impact on the dining room and some concerns still about the impact of Woodhouse Catering on service to current residents living at Covenant Woods, and I assume what we're doing about that. And so I think we shared that we can accept that there is a bottleneck that's happening in terms of service. There are some reasons behind that Mike has described to us at Town Hall and in other venues that we're really trying to work through. So we hear you when you say that there's a service issue. We're just trying to create control and have a measured approach to service to make sure the experience is really good for all. But what we did agree is that we were pausing fireside catering to the outside. And as Mike shared, that's a very small percentage compared to serving our on-campus neighbors who are interested in takeout. And it may be a bit of an iterative process with the bottleneck and people not liking to wait in line and then therefore ordering for to-go meals. So it may have been self-initiated in that way, self-created almost. But we're going to get to, I think, kind of a new norm once Mike is able to hire some more staff to be of service in fireside, particularly on the weekends when we seem to have most of the issues. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
The only other thing I wanted to add is, thank you. The only thing I wanted to add was, as Thom said, just to clarify what some of the issue and the concern is with the wait time. It has nothing to do with the carryout program. If you remember from Town Hall, we do approximately 12 orders a night, which is very small. Where we have the issue is with all the carryouts. If you remember, I said we used to do 3 to 4 or 2 to 4 per day pre-COVID. And if it's 4, that was on a busy day. Now we do 30 to 40, okay? So with those 30 to 40, we normally have 5 servers on the floor, okay? We had to pull one of those servers off the floor to manage the phones because that's what we were budgeted for. So 20% of our labor was taken off the floor to manage all the carryouts, okay? So that has a part to do with being able to turn the tables over, clean the tables, but we are in the process of hiring additional unbudgeted staff to help support that. Something I did want to share, because some of you might notice, but, and I guess this is the irony of what's going on. We had a server, if you remember, his name was Connor. Anybody remember Connor? Okay, so he has left because he did not want to be a server. He really enjoyed what he did. So the ironic part about it is when Woodhouse wasn't taking one of those 3 phone calls during the day and 9 or 10 phone calls at night, he supported and helped the servers and the bartender. So I just want to make sure that that is known, because that's just an impact of what we're going through. Any questions about that? Does it make sense? What's happening? Okay, thank you. What part, Mr. Remy, doesn't make sense?
No, my name is Joe Ramey. It doesn't make sense. The people that you are now serving on the takeouts, you were serving them seated in there, weren't you? So you're serving no
No.
more people than you used to be?
No. What people are you referring to? That they
The
weren't
takeouts,
resident takeouts or
yes.
public?
Yes. The people, the residents takeouts were sitting at the tables and eating, and we didn't have the backup. Is this correct?
Some of those residents did dine, and some of them also dined over at Traditions. So it really all depends. I can tell you it's pretty much a mix each day of 80 to 100 seated, and now 30 to 40 carry out. On Saturday, we did 170. We broke a record. On Saturday, we did 170 residents. But some of those residents who do carry out now, some of them, yes, would dine in the dining room, yes. Is that what you're asking?
Yes, but it still don't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, I'm not sure what part. You
You're
need
not
clarif-
you're not serving any more people than you were serving. Is this correct?
Yeah, the numbers are still the same, but on Saturday nights, for example, some of them would dine in Traditions, where now they've come here because Traditions on Saturday night is closed currently. So those, I would say, average 40 to 50 people on Saturday night, probably a very good percentage of them. I shouldn't say a very good percentage because I would say maybe 15 of them dine over at Fireside or Vistas now. So campus-wide, our numbers haven't increased. It's the location that has skewed the numbers a little bit.
So, in effect, we're trying to make sense of it all, just as you are as well. Coming out of COVID and coming out of some of the hiring issues that we've had, as we can start to reopen certain elements that will help alleviate some of the bottleneck and the wait time, we can reallocate the resources of staff to serve the same amount of residents, although we're growing a little bit, to serve everyone in different venues so that it doesn't quite feel like everyone has such a long wait or the service is taking too long.
Maybe what he's kind of saying too, are the carryouts, residents. Okay, is the carryout being put on the table and the residents coming down and picking it up like they should be? Or are they all trying to be delivered to the apartments? Maybe that might answer a little bit of it.
They're all coming down to get them.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, thank you.
That's a good point of clarification. Minnie?
I'm Minnie Ramey. The carryouts that the servers take out to the front door, are they the Woodhouse meals or are they the residents' orders?
It's a mixture. We have anywhere between 0 and on a really busy curbside night, 3. But normally we do 10 to 15 residents. So it's a mix. It's probably 75%, 80% resident, and maybe 20%. All depends on how many order that night. But you can always know, for the next couple of days, the orders that are in the brown shopping bags go, if you see them going through, those are for curbside pickup to the public. The ones that get taken in the plastic bags, like a shopping bag, those are for residents. So once again, curbside pickup 0 to 3, and residents 10 to 15 per night, which is great. I love the fact they're using curbside pickup. Does that answer your question?
Can't the curbside pickup come in here to pick up their food?
Residents?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Instead of the waitresses having to carry it out to the car.
Yeah, absolutely they can. Yes.
Any other thoughts around that particular topic? I'm sure there'll be more discussion, and we might have other questions come in after the broadcast. If not in the room, I'll go to the very last question that we received, which is related to a new change that we announced last week, and that is why is Covenant Woods going to start charging sales tax on alcohol? And this relates to the Code of Virginia, talking about care facilities that don't pay tax on food or beverage, including alcohol. And there was a citation of a link to that regulation. So I've just asked Eric to come address that because we all discussed this a little bit further, and Eric will give us a little update on that.
Good morning, everyone. So a couple of things with the sales tax on alcohol. This is something that is not really new to us. It's not new to Covenant Woods. We've been having to pay that sales tax for alcoholic beverages, and that's been over a number of years. And we've absorbed that because it had been relatively low. As you might remember my conversation about the budget for this year, as you know, we had an increase of 4%. That's high for you. However, our actual inflation rate is closer to 8%. So we're not even coming close to covering our costs. In addition to that, when we look at things like this sales tax, this is specific to alcoholic beverages and those people who are partaking of that. So it doesn't apply to all residents. It applies to those who are partaking of alcoholic beverages. So that amount has gone from a couple $100s to several $1,000s. And when we're looking at a time where inflation is already pinching us pretty hard, then we're looking at ways that we can recoup our costs. This is just a pass-through. We're not making any money on this. We have to pay the state. So whether we collect it or not, that's up to us, but we have to pay the state. So we don't feel like it's fair that we would overall look at increases, because this has been suggested. Why don't you look at overall bigger increases? We don't think it's fair for everybody to have to cover the cost of something very specific like that. As far as the reference to it being non-taxable part of a meal, we are getting legal counsel to review this, and if they in fact come back and say, yes, we don't need to charge it, then we'll have to go back to the state and try to figure out while we're being charged. But we feel that it is appropriate that the state's charging it because it's not part of a meal in the way that it's being cited. Some of you might have been here long enough to remember back in the days where we had a meal ticket program. So you'd have a meal ticket. That meal ticket, you go down to Traditions or wherever, and you would say, okay, I get an entree, I get a beverage, I get a salad, I get dessert. That's your meal. It's all included. And that would be non-taxable. And if alcohol was part of that, absolutely, that would be non-taxable. We are not in that place anymore. We're a la carte completely. Somebody can come down here to the bar, order just a drink, and then leave. That's not a meal. This is all a la carte. So that is why our belief is that, and as a matter of fact, the new people coming in, the Tier 4, they are, the reason why we did that, to separate that out, one of the reasons was to take alcohol away from that program because it was costing Covenant Woods too much money, in addition to the tax. So we believe that is in fact legitimate. However, if we get back word from the attorney that says otherwise, then we'll reverse it and we'll let you know. But if our attorney does confirm that, then nothing will change. Everything will stay as it is. I realize that some of you may not like it. I mean, nobody likes to pay more, but this is not something we created. This is something that we're having to pay already. So happy to take questions.
To start with, I don't think Covenant Woods is affected by every issue of the cost of living. While the cost of living might be 8%, the value of real estate and so forth does not affect your cost of living. It's paid for. I've kind of forgotten what I wanted to say. I don't know why I'm over here at this old folks' home, but you say you're being affected and you aren't getting paid for it. Every year since I've been here, which has been 10 years, you have gone up 1 and 3, 1.03, 1.04, the amount of my declining balance. You've given me nothing for it, but you have charged me for it every year. Literally, I am paying thousands of dollars on my declining balance and get nothing additional for it.
And I appreciate those comments because you're right, the food prices have gone up. So you were correct about that, but our food prices have gone up. And the 8% that I said, that is not really, that's an all-inclusive number. When you look at food specifically, and Mike is here, he can vouch for this, but a lot of the food items are double digits, well over 8%. So when we're going up 4 or 5% on food prices, we're not recouping everything there. We're not passing along everything to the resident. We are absorbing more, and we can only absorb it so much. So we're trying to be very logical. We're trying to be very methodical in the way that we go about passing off these costs. We don't want to have years where we're having to go, like some communities that across this country that have gone up. I was just at a conference, and with some of the communities, the highest percentage increase that I heard about it at the conference I was just at, 17% monthly fee increase. 17. Average, median, was over 5. We did 4 here. Lakewood did 5. Cedarfield, I hear, is about ready to do almost 5. We did 4 here. So, I mean, I understand prices going up, nobody likes. I don't like it when I go to the grocery store and I have to pay, $30 for a steak that I used to pay $20 for. I don't like that either, but I have to deal with it if I want it. So these are just the times that we're in right now. And, for something like this with the tax, that's very specific. That's not even just a discretionary raise on our part. That's just a pass-through for us to the state.
We old folks, we don't get anything.
Understood.
If I remember reading the letter correctly, it also stated the sales tax would be charged to our monthly account for guests as well as, the food tax on the guests. Is this correct? Did I read this correctly? I knew it mentioned alcohol, which alcohol doesn't bother me, but the sales tax, you said that you would start charging to the residents if we have guests to come in and eat. Well, we have had guests through the years, and we've always had our sales tax for our guests added to our monthly statement. So I don't quite understand the letter, the way it's worded.
Well, sales tax for guests has always been a thing. So that really isn't a change on that piece of it.
I need to go back and read it then, because I think the way it reads it, it says it will start charging the residents on the monthly our monthly billing for the sales tax with guests.
Right. So the new thing is the sales tax on the alcohol. That's really the new piece of it.
Okay. Well, it needs to be clarified. Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions for me? All right.
Thanks, Eric. Thanks, Mike. Any other questions or comments on different topics now from the audience?
Just something to bring to your attention, okay? And thank you for doing a good job. You're really trying hard.
Thank you.
I've noticed in the last couple of weeks, we have the protocol that everybody coming in has to have on a mask, and it's a sign out there. What I've had to turn away several people, 3 of which were Amazon Prime. Camden came to the rescue the other day and took a package up because they're not bringing masks, they're not coming in the door with masks, and they call over, like on a weekend, they call over to the concierge in the manor. The concierge lets them in and doesn't say, don't forget you have to have a mask on. So the other day, I would not let 2 of them come in, and there were no masks to be found, okay? And then one day it was getting on the elevator here. Well, if our families have to have masks, we have to wear a mask, they have to wear a mask.
Yeah, that's quite right. Thank you for
And
bringing
then
that to
the
my
other
attention.
thing is, the same scenario, and this was somebody that had called the manor over the weekend. It was a couple that came in for the outside catering, and they came in. And I very nicely said, I'm sorry, but you know, you have to have a mask on.
Mm-hmm.
So the concierge over there on weekends anyway are not letting them know. Just a thought.
Thank you. Yeah, we will certainly circle back with them and let that be known. And that's part of the policing of it, is that we are all accountable, and I appreciate that. But we can certainly remind our concierge to remind vendors coming in. Yeah, definitely. Hopefully not for much longer, but it seems to be coming in cycles and waves. And I know we had a reprieve for maybe 2 days, right? Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday we're back into masks. We did have a resident test positive who was part of some larger groups. So right now we're in the middle of contact tracing. So we're trying to understand the scope right now as we can understand it before we make other decisions around protocol for residents, guests, and staff. We were prepared to go free yesterday, but that's when we got the news. So stay tuned. I appreciate everyone really upholding that. I think it has value for us as we gather. You notice that for those who are at home can't see it, but we're distanced here 3 feet apart or so. So we're trying to follow those guidelines still and yet remain open so that we can still gather and get together for programs and events, which we also think are really important. Any other topics this morning? Yes, sir.
Yes, Don Beck. Twice in the last 2 or 3 weeks, when I've been out for my walks, I don't know if it's contractors or somebody who has the double cab pickup trucks. I'm assuming they're contractors because they got a very heavy hitch that extends 1.5 feet behind, but they're backing into the spots. Yesterday morning, I was coming down around the spring. If somebody had been with a rollator or a power chair, they could not have gotten by. They had the complete sidewalk blocked. And I understand they got an extra long truck. The other time it happened over here where contractors may have been parking right outside E-Wing, and they had the whole sidewalk blocked with that trailer hitch. And I
Yeah.
don't know what can be done about it because, you know, without somebody standing there, no, you can't park here, yes, you can, no, you can't, type of thing.
Well, I think that we can have security go talk to them and ask them to move or reposition. Those aren't spots that they should be doing that. No, we shouldn't be blocking sidewalks, so thank you for letting me know. I tried to note outside my window who's parking where and what's happening generally in my area, but we can certainly notify security. Let concierge or security know if you see it again.
Otherwise, you would like for us to call security when we see that?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
And we'll let Chris know that that's an expectation that we'll have them go out and talk to him. Or it can be Tim if it's a contractor that's working with Tim. May just be a lack of sensitivity. Good. Other topics, other questions? Ms. Federle.
But tell me one more time, when and where are these meetings? You went to the wrong place again this morning.
Oh, I apologize. It's a little confusing. So every other week, every other Tuesday at 8:30 is our coffee chat. And then every other Tuesday in the multi-purpose room is a coffee social.
Tuesday and third Tuesday, for example.
Yes, I mean, unless there's a 5-week, in the month. So you just have to look at Katie, and that'll tell you when this is happening and where it's happening. I have to look at my calendar to figure it out too. Trust me.
That's the problem. I didn't look at Katie.
Yeah,
Thank you.
communication is right there. But you made it, so we're happy about that.
Obviously, a lot of people in here are watching TV because they came.
Yes, yep. So quite a few are noting it there. That's for sure. Well, if there's nothing else for this morning, we'll go ahead and close. If there are additional questions coming from those who are watching at home, please just send those in and we'll respond to those as soon as we can. Enjoy the rest of your day.